Just when I thought that the Broly buffs for this celebration was over, I forgot, and actually, no, remembered about this guy right here. There is no way that this celebration ends without this GOAT getting a super easy A. I would also want one for the physical Broly, but I'm not going to ask for too much. I just want this character to be, actually have a slot within the team. And if I'm being super honest, and I'm going to show you a concept I quickly made. That was a long paragraph, I know, but hear me out. I want this Broly to be a character who can fit and work in slot 3. I think a supporting character for these two units here, or someone who can really fit the uncontrollable movie boss's role, especially in slot 3 for what the team needs, I think is, again, what the team needs. And so I'm going to show you personally what I cooked up, and I would love for your feedback. Again, this is not something that I think like Dokkan will actually do, but this is just me expressing to you what I want to see when this guy has to get a super easy. And so let me just show you what I cooked up. Again, you can let me know what you think. Also, another thing I'll mention real quick, please, the best way to stop your forehead from growing, because right now it's looking kind of massive, all you gotta do is subscribe. It's really not that difficult. Let's move into it. Here we go. So this is what I made for Broly Super Easy A, and keep in mind that these Super Easy A passives go from one line to multiple, and I'll be fair, I went a little overboard, but I really do think that what I cooked here is actually viable. Not super OP, but would really help the movie bosses team, as well as, the, what's it called? The movie bosses team, as well as the uncontrollable power team, especially in slot 3, and without really trying to replace characters, because the only character on the team really with this name is of course going to be the recent legendary Super Saiyan Broly. But if you have this guy in slot 1 and then this guy maybe in slot 2, which he isn't really a slot 1 character to begin with, and I respect that, I get it, but let me just, again, let's just talk about it. Here we go. So this is again a very, very, very long passive. I apologize, but I really don't. You also have to understand that I made this a little bit longer because Super Easy A's don't really tackle the super attack stuff. So this is going to basically remain the same. Let me show you again what I made here. So attack and defense plus 260%. And for 3 turns starting from the first appearance, guards all attacks. So if this guy is in slot 3, for whatever reason, that guard countdown will start in slot 3. So that means he'll have guard all the way up until turn 6, which I do think is very, very good so far, okay? 3 key and attack and defense plus 160% when attacking, which basically was his passive, right? Like if we look at his Easy passive, he just got stats when attacking, so obviously not good enough. He gets defense plus 60% up to 160 within the turn, and extreme class allies, including himself, key plus 1 up to 3, and attack and defense plus 20% up to 60% for 2 turns with each attack received within the turn. So basically the way this works is this entire thing is dependent on him getting hit, but when he does get hit, he can build up his defense within the turn up to get 160 plus 60 here, is basically what, 220% to defense and 60% to attack, but that's just within the same turn. But the support will last for 2 turns. So if this guy is in slot 3 and he gets hit 3 times, the next rotation, whatever rotation that may end up being, that rotation will have 3 key and 60% to stats. So of course a very, very, very strong ability. And to get the most out of this, you probably want to put this Broly in slot 1. Again, the reason why you do that is because, again, if this guy gets hit 3 times, then you're going to support the entire rotation with 3 key and 60% to stats, and then the next following rotation as well. Again, I didn't really design him to be a slot 1 character, but that's something that you could do with this build. Reduces damage received by 50% before attacking, plus an additional damage reduction rate of 30%, and performs additional super attack when all allies attacking in the same turn are movie bosses or uncontrollable power category allies, and when all allies on the team are uncontrollable power category allies, survives KO attacks once only. So the way this part of his passive works, okay, he basically has 80% Okay, no. He has this 30% damage reduction is just baseline. He just has 30% general damage reduction. The first part of this damage reduction is simply before attacking. So technically, before attacking, he has 80% damage reduction. But after he attacks, that damage reduction does go down to 30%. The reason why I did it this way was, of course, because this guy isn't stacking defense in any way, not raising defense. So I feel like after he attacks, I mean, he does have this as well, but I fear like those AoE attacks or those attacks that, without Broly having a chance, I don't think that's really fair. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, honestly, like 80% does sound kind of crazy. Like, but it's like we have, like before, it's a before attacking buff. Is it really that OP? I don't, like, if I brought this down to 40%, that might be a little better, but I feel like, having 80% damage reduction before attacking is like cool, but having only 30% after is obviously like not great, which is kind of like the trade-off you have with this character, right? But to have that extra 30%, you need all allies on the turn to be either move bosses or uncontrollable power category allies. And then when the entire team is uncontrollable power, you gain the ability to once only survive KO attacks, which of course is very, very, very good. He gets attack and defense plus 60% and foresees enemy super attacks when facing an enemy whose name includes Goku. Launches an additional super attack starting from the turn in which this character receives the third attack in battle. Uncontrollable power category allies key +1 and reduces damage received by 7% starting from the turn in which this character receives the fourth attack in battle. And then all attacks become critical hits starting from the turn in which this character receives the fifth attack in battle. So I think this character is going to be like their absolute strongest, maybe like, turn 3 from first appearance when they still have their guard up. They get hit 3 times, so they're going to be supporting themselves as well as giving them like the entire team, but also themselves a lot of defense here. Being able to, of course, have that insane damage reduction. And keep in mind that the guard does go away. After the guard goes away, this becomes just less effective. And then you're going to definitely get caught with this character. After this character attacks, and then you get hit with an attack in slot 3, only having 30% damage reduction is not going to cut it. So there is weakness within this character. But I do think that AoEs are a little bit cheap in this game. And having a character who can survive in slot 3 on the team like Uncontrollable Power or Movie Bosses or Planetary Destruction is a really strong and viable asset to have. Again, you can still get cooked with 80% damage reduction. It's not going to happen, for a while, but it's possible. Especially for a character with no super attack effects, with the defense being as low as it is. So, again, these stats and numbers look really, really good. But if the first attack they receive is a super attack, I guess keep in mind that, like, if they do get hit with an AoE, it does buff up their defense as well. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is a little bit... I don't know, bro. It's a Broly. We deserve this, okay? We deserve it. I'm not holding it. I don't care. We deserve it. We deserve this. And I think you're lying if you said that we didn't. And giving all allies 1 key and 7% damage reduction to like units like this, I do think is going to be super, super, super valuable as well. And all they have to do is get hit 4 times, right? And this character is a character who is designed to get hit, but it's more so of like a thing where you put this unit in slot 3. The reason why I designed it this way, because I know some people will be like, okay, but if they're meant to get hit, why are they designed? How is he designed to be in slot 3? And that's a great question. You can either do one of 2 things. Because they're guarding for 3 turns, what you can do is for the first 3 turns, have this character in slot 1 and slot 2, or basically in the way of all the major attacks, or just all the main attacks, and proc as many of these buffs here, of course, as possible, right? And then after those 3 turns from first appearance wear off, what you can do is put this guy in slot 3. He's now going to have guaranteed crits, giving all allies 1 key, 7% damage reduction, and an additional super attack, which of course is very, very straight, very, very strong. And then while he is in slot 3, every single time he gets hit from that point on, he's going to still be supporting, raising his own defense, supporting the team, and that way launching, because this character can do what? I think what launch three. Actually, no, it's 4 super attacks within the turn, right? Because we have this additional here. Wait, no, this is the crit. Where's the additional? Additional here. And then we have the additional here, and then the main attack plus hidden potential could be 4 additional super attacks, which of course in slot 3 is very, 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 very strong, especially when you have guaranteed crits, right? That's and damage reduction up a little bit too. I mean, yeah, I think this is a good, pretty strong but well designed unit. Like you can definitely sit here and say this is super, super. I don't think this is overpowered, to be honest with you. This is what the team needs, and keep in mind that this character, outside of movie bosses or uncontrollable power, you know, they're not really going to be looking anywhere close to as impressive as they are. So this is one of those units where it's like they're stronger because they're meant to be operated on a specific team, which is you know, just more buffs and more support for the new category that Dokkan added. I really do think that when Dokkan adds new categories, easying characters and giving us new characters and new free-to-play units and new options for the team, whether they're slot 3 options, slot 1 options, it's super, super, super important. So anyways, let me know what you think. If this is what the ETA looked like, I would not be disappointed at all. Definitely would have to be the best super ETA in the game. I don't think it's even really comparable, to be honest. But maybe it's not. Again, this is not realistic in terms of not it being too OP, but Dokkan isn't doing this, right? It's going to be very hard to predict exactly what they're going to do. But yeah. Anyways, let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let's see what his super easy it looks like. I'm praying for it to be actually good and for him to have an actual slot on the movie bosses or uncontrollable power team.